Just print that.
Hello.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Hope you're enjoying this gorgeous weather. It's like we had fall, then we had summer again, now we have fall again. So
It's a little too chilly for me.
You bring a jacket, you take it off and on all day. That's the way it goes. So I'm
right.
Judy Hayes with Design Realty Group.
And I'm Darla Nunley with Design Realty Group. And today we have a pretty interesting topic today. It's starting to come up a little bit more and more. It's been in the news a little bit. So we want to make sure that we share some really good information with you, or if you or someone that you know is going to be facing this situation coming soon. We want to make sure that you know that you have options and that you can come talk to us about what to do with these options. So the first thing that we want to do is talk a little bit about where we are in the marketplace right now. So Judy and I have discussed over the last several weeks episodes on where our market is. And so today I want to make a reminder to you that over the last 5 years, the home appreciation across the United States, and especially here in Houston, has been on average about 48%.
That's huge, people.
That's huge. So what you paid for your home 5 years ago may not be its market value today. So you hear a lot of stuff in the news about the home prices are crashing and things like that. And we keep telling you that's not the case. So we're going to start with that little bit of good news today, so we can talk a little bit about some things that we're starting to see potentially happening here. So Judy's got some things that she wants to share with you statistic wise.
We are going to talk about some ugly F words today. We're just going to get it right out there. Forbearance and foreclosure. So forbearance is an option that was provided to many homeowners during the pandemic. So obviously lots of stuff shut down. Lots of people lost their job, or their job was cut in half. They weren't making as much income. And so your lender allowed you to go into forbearance, which means you stopped making your payments. Know this up front, that's not free. There's nothing free, but I've closed 5 homes this year that were in forbearance. And so they take that amount that you didn't pay and they tack it on to the end, plus fees and interest, of which you don't realize they add. The longer you don't pay, the higher those fees and interest go. So I think that's pretty common. So a couple of things that we talked about in our agent meeting this morning. I'm also working on my REO certification with an REO coach. So getting educated is what we need to do. As markets change, we need to educate ourselves as real estate agents so that we can pass that along to the consumer of what's happening. We're going to talk about some nationwide stats right now. So right now, about 891,000 homes are still in forbearance. That means those folks are not making a monthly payment on their mortgage, okay? People, that can't last forever.
Right.
It can't last forever. And if you still don't have a job and you haven't worked that out with your mortgage company, that's going to come to an end.
Or if you thought that you just would have the money tacked on to the end of your mortgage, that's a different scenario too.
Yeah, it is tacked on, but you've got to catch up at some point. Okay, so what I'm having listing appointments now that is coming up, and little birdies in our ear. You know, I've got 4 REO coaches and different things. Lots of people that know things. Inman, all these big people at these conferences are like, the banks have to stop it at some time. They have to make you start paying your mortgage again. They can't just do it. We've been on 2 years now. So with 891,000 people in forbearance, we're hearing that coming in November, these banks, and when I say big banks, little banks, all kinds of banks, they make their own rules, but they got to stop. They got to stop the bleeding. They have to make people start making their mortgage. Also, in the United States, again, nationwide, about 1 million people are delinquent on their payment. That means they're at least 30 days behind. They may not be in forbearance or anything like that, but they're late. 13% of FHA loans are in default right now. Those are all kind of doom and gloom, but we got a very something positive that they also said that was surprised us. We just talked about that 45% of the homeowners in United States are debt free or mortgage free.
They own their own home.
They own their home free and clear. So that's very positive for those people. We're like, wow, that seems a lot. We talked about that in detail. But what we're going to talk about today is the options instead of foreclosure. So if you are in forbearance and you get that letter from your bank or a phone call that says, hey, time's up, okay, we can't do this any longer, be prepared. They're going to ask you for a couple of things. Well, they're going to ask you for a large chunk of change, lots of money, okay? So Darla, do you have $30,000 or else we're going to foreclose on your home? What do you do if you don't have $30,000? This is what happens. This is more F words. frustration, you're frazzled, and you're very, very fearful. This is your home. This is your livelihood, okay? There are other options. You can't be fearful to pick up the phone and call us. You have to ask questions because remember, the person on the phone you're talking to works for the lender. They're trying to make you pay large chunks of change. The numbers in my ears that I keep hearing from other sellers is $20,000, $30,000. If you had $20,000 or $30,000 in your bank account, you wouldn't be behind. You're right. And then you're like, okay, can't do that. Then they're going, why don't we refi it? Well, if you had an interest rate that's lower than our interest rate, what is our rate today? Do you know?
6 1/4.
6 1/4 today. Why would you refi it? You know, you might be able to roll that in, but if the monthly payment makes you uncomfortable, that's not helping either. Okay, so what in the world do we do? Darla, do you want to talk about short sales? So the first thing, actually, nope, I already messed up my notes. Quick offer or traditional sale. What Darla was saying, you need to know what the equity is in your home. Don't be freaking out when we could literally list your house traditionally. Right. Go, Darla, with that one.
So as I mentioned before, the home price increase has happened over the last 5 years. And a lot of that has been due to just the way that the Houston economy has been. So we've talked a lot of times about what you see on the news and is not necessarily what's happening here in Houston, because we are a growth state and we have been for quite a while now, and we're continuing to have growth. No matter what the news says, Houston is its own little animal.
Texas is its own nation.
That's right. So the first thing that you probably need to do is talk to us and find out, what is the market value of my home? What am I looking at?
Because you can be over here stressed out thinking they're trying to foreclose in your home. Right. Not that you don't want to lose it, because you probably can't get a refi because your credit score's down, but we can get the equity out of your home. You can actually get some money, get back on your feet, settled in. There are
HELOCs. There's a lot of other options for you that you need to know that would be helpful, for you. So if we look at that market value and you're seeing that you have some equity there, and you might be able to use that or not be able to use that, whatever your choice is. But we also have the ability to talk to the bank.
And investors. We have investors that blow our phone up every single day.
Right.
They're looking for off-market deals. What's an off-market deal? That means we've come to your house and visited with you about a market analysis, and you're not on the market yet. You're not live. We have wholesalers and investors looking for that all the time, and it helps with those fees that you get charged. And so let's just say you're tight. Even if you're going to break even with listing traditionally, that's your option. And I'm going to say something. I'm sorry, I'm being direct. I know you love your home, but if you're in a financial position that you can't afford it anymore, we need to get you out of that position so that you can regroup and refocus on what you need to. You can buy another home. Right. Because if you let your home foreclose, you cannot buy another home for 7 years. 7 years. That's a long time. Right. What if we sold this house and we rented for a year? We got our ducks back in a row. We got our account more comfortable. Your job is more steady. Then we find something again. But if you get into foreclosure, it's 7 years.
Right. And we do have the simple sale program as well. So the simple sale program is something where we have our partner come in and take a look after they make an offer. After we go through and we meet with you, they come in, they make an offer. And that's definitely an option for you as well, because there's no showings. You get to make a quick decision on an offer, and it's a cash purchase, and you can be done with that fairly quickly. And like Judy said, then you kind of regroup, and you don't put that on your record, because you do not want a foreclosure on your record. It does stick there for quite a while, and there's other options that we can do too. Right.
Investors, simple sale is always wonderful. It's quick and easy. The next thing we're going to talk about is a short sale. So a short sale does not mean it's a short amount of time. It means that we're going to sell your house short of the amount you actually owe on the home. So let's just say you owe $300 on it. And there are fees to sell your home, real estate agents and title commitment fees and stuff like that. So it costs about 7% to sell your home. So let's say once we did the market analysis, you're under, you're short. You're like, I'm not going to make any money. We do a short sale. So a short sale means your listing agent. Your listing agent is in control, and your listing agent works in conjunction with your mortgage company to short sell your house. It's a process. You have to qualify. You can't just say, I want to do a short sale.
Correct.
So the first qualification is you must be 30 days late. Okay. The second qualification is you must have a hardship. That means you have an illness, you've lost your job, you have a divorce, you have a death, something like that, that shows why all of a sudden you couldn't pay your mortgage. The next thing is you have to provide financials. You basically have to
show that you can't afford to pay the mortgage.
You can't afford the house. That you can't have a savings account with $50,000 in it and say that I want a short sale. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
You've got to show that your bills are more than your income. You're short, okay? Then we work with the bank to get that house listed traditionally, but the bank is the one who makes the decision about how much they're going to sell your house for. You are in it, in control. You can stay in your house and you're still not paying a mortgage, but you can't keep saving that money and having an account building up and go, oh, I'm not paying my mortgage because Judy said I can short sell it. You still are using that money to pay your everyday bills because you've got a divorce or you've had an illness. You've got other bills that you have to pay for, okay? So that's what a short sale is. A real estate agent is still involved in that. Those fees are covered. The bank's going to cover everything. And that is definitely a sit-down conversation. But if you've called the office and you're like, I bought this house last year, I haven't made a payment, I immediately know you're upside down.
Right.
Okay. If you've been in your home less than 2 years, you might be upside down. It just depends. But those are my key things. I'm a VA loan and I've been here for less than a year and I haven't been paying my mortgage. Ding, ding, ding. Those are our signs.
Right.
Next one, we have a
deed in lieu.
That means you can work directly with the bank to deed the house back. So obviously, if you have equity in your home, we don't want to do that. You want to get out of the house with money. Oh, I'm backtracking. I'm chasing a squirrel. On a short sale, you will not get any money. You're going to break even. Right. You're going to walk away.
Right.
You're not going to owe any money.
Right.
Okay.
You won't have a
money.
foreclosure on your record.
You won't have a foreclosure on your record. So with a short sale, you cannot buy a home for,
I think it's 3 years.
2 to 3 years. 2 to 3 years. Okay, so that's better. But here's the key about short sale. On your loan application, remember there's a question, do you have a foreclosure? You answered no. It doesn't say, do you have a short sale? It says, do you have a foreclosure? So 2 years is better than 7 years, and you can get your ducks back in a row. So short sales, and I've done a ton of short sales. I'm a certified distressed property expert on those. Patience is where you get your patience hat on that process, but it's definitely a huge, huge option instead of foreclosure. So if you have received a letter from your bank that says, warning number 1, don't wait. Pick up the phone and call a realtor and let's see what type of position you're in. The F word, fear. I understand it's fearful and I understand it can be embarrassing, but there's a reason for it. You're not the only one. There are 891,000 other people in forbearance. We all know what happened in the pandemic. Right. Okay, we all know what happened there, and it's not a good situation. But if we can get out of a mortgage and not get a foreclosure on our record, that's our goal.
Well, and the other thing to think about, I've mentioned this before. The lenders always find ways during the different markets that we have to help their buyers get into a home. So if you end up having to do a short sale or a deed in lieu, or if you end up having to sell your home to get out and kind of get yourself back to a level playing field, remember the lenders are also looking at rents right now. So if you're able to get out somewhere else, get into an apartment, get into another home, make your lease payments, make rental payments, they're then going to be able to take that and look at it a little later on and use that in your loan application as a positive. So
because like I said, so many people don't think you're alone. The world shut down, and unfortunately some people affected more than others.
Right. And it may not always be the option or the outcome that you want, but I think to mitigate your liability and to mitigate, the long-term effects of it is being knowledgeable and not putting your head in the sand and putting it under a pillow and saying, this isn't happening to me. This isn't happening to me. The smart thing to do is to get on top of it and talk to somebody that knows what they're doing.
Well, the frustration that I see with the sellers, they're trying their best to work with the mortgage company. They're going in circle after circle after circle. They send paperwork after paperwork. They send it a million times and they just keep bringing them in a circle. When the agent gets involved, we are a little bit stronger. We know their processes and their procedures, and we get you out of the middle of it. And that's where you can relax a little bit. Let us handle that, because it is very frustrating. You don't have the time, or you don't have a fax machine, or you can't scan a stack of documents. When we do it, they want this many documents. They want to know everything about it. So if you're going to do a short sale, they want all your financials. You've got to prove to them that you don't have any money.
Correct.
Okay. You have to prove to them that you have a hardship, that they will allow a short sale. Short sale is a request. It's please don't foreclose. Please let me do a short sale, because if you don't, they are going to foreclose on you.
Right. And I will say that from every bit of information that I know, the banks don't want to foreclose on you.
It costs them a lot of money.
It costs them a lot of money to pull that loan out. So when we are able to give them an option, they're not going to give you the option. But when you're able to bring options to them, they will work with you a little bit better than if you don't.
Tell them you have a realtor. Then you get involved and they will stop. If you've got that foreclosure notice, if you already have a date of sale, it might be too late. We can try, because if we tell them, hey, here's our market analysis, they have equity in their home, don't foreclose. It costs the banks way too much money to foreclose on. What do they have to foreclose on all these houses? They don't want to do that. They don't want to do that. But you've got to stop, putting your head in the sand and get educated about it. It might not be what
ignoring the problem doesn't make the problem go away.
It doesn't. And what Darla was saying is, it might not be exactly what you want to do right now, but at this point,
it may be the best option.
This is hard. We're taking the personal feelings out of it. It needs to be a business decision. It needs to be a business decision for you and your family. What's best for you right now, because we can't control the inflation, the gas prices, the grocery prices, your electricity. You got to pay all of that. And that's, you got to have some sort of relief. And if this gets you relief, and we can get you into a lease somewhere.
And I think all of us enter a point in our lives where we have to regroup at some point, whether it's a death in the family, or whether it's a divorce, or whether it's a job loss. We all have to kind of we've all had been there, and you all have to take a step back and say, okay, how do I regroup? What's the best outcome I can get for my family given the situation? And then put a plan in place and go forward from there. It's a short-term solution to a long-term potential issue.
Right. And the more you keep going and going and going, it's exhausting to deal with them. It really is. And we can kind of contain them a little bit and deal with them. Also on a short sale, let me say this. It's not a short time frame either. It generally takes about 6 months. So let me tell you, I was like, what in the world? My God, what are they doing? We put a contract over there. Why does it take so much? Let me tell you why it takes so long. So if you have a bank that has short sales or files that are in foreclosure, you have at the bank a person called an asset manager. This asset manager now has about 100 files, is their average 100 files that they're managing. And so they are dealing with the agent. So not only are they, if you're talking to them, they have procedures of how they want you to upload their documents. And if you're missing one little piece of paper, they're like, you got to start all over. It's a disaster. So when they have these assets managers with 100 files, they're not looking at them one by one. They take them to their investors, and these investors are going to buy these assets from them in bundles. Okay. So you're like, why does it take so long to make a decision on the offer I sent? It's easy. It's a $300,000 offer. Yes or no. Okay. Yes or no. It's not that easy, because that asset manager is looking at with investors about 100 files, and they bundle them. They look at all of them at the same time, and then they start giving prices to all of them. Generally speaking, 80% is kind of a number that they go off of. Okay. It depends on how long you have not paid your mortgage. But if you owe 300, they're probably looking for 80%, maybe 90. Just depends on the bank and how many they have. And sometimes the little bitty banks, you're not supposed to say dude, they will foreclose on you quickly, like 60 to 90 days. They're small.
Yeah, their liability and their risk is a lot higher. Yeah.
Bigger banks, Chase, Wells Fargo, but I can't speak for all of them, but they kind of take they have a bigger department. They have bigger pocketbooks.
There's just a lot more files.
There's a lot more files there.
Files to go
they
through.
give you more of an opportunity, but sometimes when they say go, if you're in a manufactured home and you bought it from a manufactured home dealership, they bought it on a 2-week notice. I mean, they don't play.
Right. And I will say that, sometimes if you get into this situation, the quicker we get an offer, so let's say that we've listed a home and it's a short sale situation, we do let the agent on the other end know that up front, because like she said, we need to let our buyers know that this is a short sale situation. So if they're looking at moving in 30 days, that's not going to happen.
No, it's not.
Right? So the best thing that we can do is what we do at DRG, which is really get that listing the absolute best marketing looks that we can get. So we're going to do all the same things to it that we do with all of our other listings. We're going to make sure that you are presented first impression, best look, most marketing that we can get you, just like we do with everyone else, because the advantage is for you as our client, the seller, to get that home quickly, get it under contract quicker. So once we have a contract on that home, you're now in a little bit of a better position, because then we have something to take to the bank and say, here we are, we have an offer on here. Can you let us know if this is something that they are willing to accept?
So when we list that home, so we're just using the number. We came in, we did a market analysis for 300,000. We're actually going to list about 280. Okay, because we're trying. You're like, what? Remember, you're not getting any money. You're not losing any money, but you're not getting any money. We're talking about the bank. You're out of the picture at this point. Yes, you live there, but it's not your decision anymore. Okay, so we're going to list at 280 because now you're under market value. So we're trying to get a quick contract on your home. Just because we list at 280 and we get a contract at 280. The bank determines what they're going to take for the house. So then a whole package gets sent to the bank, and that asset manager is going to send us one, either say a counter, nope, or they're going to send you what's called a bank approval. And it says, yes, we will take this amount, this many days to close. So here's the caveat to that. We've waited, right? We've waited for 3 or 4 months for them to give us an answer. And finally they say, your short sale is approved, bank approved. That's the word. Short sale is bank approved. That's the words we're looking for. Then they're like, can you close in 2 weeks? You've been sitting there waiting, and they're not playing. That's not a joke. They mean it because it's wait, hurry up.
Yes.
Now that they've made a decision, everybody needs to scuffle and, do what they want as quickly as they want because they're the bank, and that's just the way it works. And we will explain that to you when we do that listing. But you do get to stay in the house during that process. They actually don't want you to vacate it because we want the utilities on for inspections. We don't want anybody to vandalize it. We want the home to still be maintained.
I was about to say that's the biggest thing is you have to understand that this is, at this point, we're now in a business decision.
Yes.
And we are doing business as usual. You need to get into a business mode and do business as usual and understand that the best option that you have is to help us help you sell it successfully. Because if you don't, then we're in a situation where the number keeps going down and down. You're in the house longer. Things start happening. So the quicker that we can get it on the market in its best shape, moving forward, the better off it is that you will get an offer and a approval closer to the amounts that we need, you need, and the bank
again,
needs.
choice number 1 is just a traditional listing, whether it's with us or simple sale or with an investor. That's cash. So that's number 1. Number 2 is a short sale. Number 3 is a deed in lieu. And actually, I don't really like that one.
But that's an option.
It's an option. But you're not going to get any cash at a short sale. If we list it or an investor comes in or simple sale, you're going to get, you're going to get some money on the table, which is what we're trying to do. So again, don't be frustrated. Don't be frazzled. Don't be fearful. If you are in a forbearance or foreclosure situation, let us help you analyze your situation and let you know what the value of your home is, because you might be sitting there going, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I'm over here freaking out and frustrated because the bank's hounding me now. And once they start calling, they're like,
and don't ignore them. Do not ignore the bank. Do not ignore the bank. It doesn't go away because you ignore it.
Very good.
Get on top of it.
Don't ignore the bank. Answer the phone calls. And if you're tired of answering the phone calls, what do? You call us, because then they're going to call us, because you're going to have to sign an authorization that allows the bank to talk to us. And when you do that, you don't ever have to talk to them again.
Because by the time they've sent you and called you and emailed you, make payment, and then you get the letter that says, we're going to foreclose. We're going to foreclose on you. You're pretty much too late by then.
Yeah.
So
we can
let's avoid
try
that.
really hard, but let's not get there, because you're getting at least 3 letters. Don't put your head in the sand. Don't put it over in the pile of junk mail in the drawer where it's really underneath there. Like, if I don't look at it, it's not really going to happen, because it really is going to happen.
Absolutely.
But so we just wanted to make sure you were educated on that, because it is coming up. November seems to be the month that we're hearing,
that Thanksgiving month, that really good month.
It has to stop. I mean, just understand, it can't last forever.
Right.
And
so if you or somebody that is in this situation, you hear people talking about it, forbearance, or I took that COVID thing where I didn't have to pay my mortgage for a couple of months. That's what we're talking about. So if you hear them and they hear them start talking about that, tell them, hey, you need to call the Hayes team. I heard something about it the other day, and they might be able to help you. Whatever it is that we can do to help, we have to sit down and get in front of you, and then we can show you what we can do to help you.
Absolutely. Thanks for tuning in. We usually go long. Today we're
Today
short.
It's
Imagine that, because we didn't have any notes today. We are going to talk about 2 listings. The first one we're going to talk about today featured is on Mossy Rock in Green Tree in the heart of Kingwood. This is a very traditional home. It's got a swimming pool. It's at the end of a cul-de-sac, and we are listed for $435,000.
Are we doing an open house on that one?
We did it last weekend when you were out of town partying with your family.
It up. That's where I was to the lady in white that wasn't here last week.
Sometimes we have things personally to do.
Yeah.
So we have Mossy Rock and Kingwood. We have Lake Shore. It is, we are under $225,000. It's a log cabin. It's a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath with a lake view. This is a man's house. I'm not even gonna lie. Who wants to fish? Who wants a lake view? It's a great little cabin up there. So if you guys want to go up to the Cold Springs area, let me know. Darla and I are actually gonna be there on Sunday because we're looking at some property for ourselves. I'm trying to bend our arm and twist it, and maybe we can buy some land up there.
I may go, you know what? I may go look at this log cabin because, you know, VRBOs are
That's an
a
option.
huge thing right now. And so I might go
That's
take
it.
a look at it and see if it's something that's,
Maybe we can do a video on it.
maybe
'cause I
we
haven't
can do
been
a
up there.
video. We'll take Alexis.
Well, we appreciate it, guys. Hope you're enjoying this weather. Thank you for tuning in your lunch hour. If you weren't able to make it, please watch us on Facebook or on our YouTube channel. Again, no frustration. Don't be frazzled. Don't be fearful. Call Design Realty Group.
That's right. And you can go to one of our websites, darlanenley.com or the Hayes Team.
Realty by Judy Hayes.
Realty-
She never
sorry.
knows my website. She don't
Realty
know my website.
by Realty by Judy Hayes.
She's my best friend. She's
.com.
my best friend, bitch. She don't know my website. That's Kevin Hart right out of the.
Right.
Sorry, shouldn't have
That's
said
all
that.
right.
But she don't know my website.
I don't know her website. The Hayes Team Sales.com.
Buy something.
darlanenley.com. If you go over there,
JudyHayes.com.
if you go over there, the previous episodes are all up in there. I don't even know what to do
She
with it.
never gets.
Can
to
we
say
hit
this.
cut, cameraman?
Delete. Stop.
Y'all have a great week.
Bye.
Bye.
Somebody push the button.